Yes, Aunt Jennifer's Tigers is a poem written by Adrienne Rich, and this poem is about a woman whose marriage has not been a happy one, and she has suffered at the hands of her husband. She makes pictures of tigers on the panel, but she is in the grip of ordeals which which have crushed her. She has gone through the tortures of marriage. She adopts tigers as her idol, and a tiger is a symbol of strength and freedom. She gives expression to all her desires through these tigers. If we talk about the theme of the poem, Aunt Jennifer's Tigers is based on the theme of oppression being faced by the woman in the male dominated society. The poem clearly depicts a woman's struggle with expression, rebellion, and a society where power is defined as masculine. The poem also highlights the victimization of women by their male counterparts. The male domination over women is a factor, yet it is their desire to forget their feministic features and behave like men and become like men. Aunt Jennifer's Tigers is a fight for the equal rights. Aunt Jennifer wishes for a tiger's life free of jungle law, where she may define the law and lay restrictions and scope for the womankind. She breaks away from the 20th century traditions in which woman is nothing but a symbol of enjoyment only. Her prancing tigers exhibit her desire to let loose her ambitions and materialize them. If we talk about the title of the poem, Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, written by Adrienne Rich, is an apt title. It suggests that tigers like terror. Aunt's husband was. She was very afraid of him and felt trapped and suffocated in marriage. Metaphorically, tigers are representatives of her desire of free spirit, emphasizing the fact that she pines for freedom from her burdensome husband. Thus, the title is appropriate. If we go for the according to the lines of the poem, in the first stanza, the poet has explained us about the tigers which Aunt Jennifer has embroidered on the panel on a woolen cloth. We are told about the characteristics of the tigers, what she has given to those tigers, and in a way, these are the qualities which she wanted to have in her life. Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across a screen, bright topaz denizens of a world of green. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. They pace in sleek, chivalric certainty. The poet describes the tigers, which her aunt produced by using colored threads on woolen or heavy cloth. They are set in motion. They are moving quickly by raising the front legs and jumping forwards on the back legs. In the green jungle, they look bright yellow, just like the topaz, as valuable as topaz, which reveals her dream of a happier life in her needlework. There are men sitting under the tree, but the tigers do not care for them. They move on their goal boldly and smoothly. You can see here the qualities given to the tigers. They pace in sleek, chivalric certainty. That means they walk in a well groomed manner, brave in a brave manner, and full of confidence. Here, alliteration is used, the repetition of the sound C, chivalric certainty. Then in the next stanza, Aunt Jennifer's, we are told about the condition of Aunt Jennifer when she embroidered these tigers. Aunt Jennifer's fingers, fluttering through her wool, find even the ivory needle hard to pull. The massive weight of Uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. What the poet explains here is that Jennifer finds it difficult to make the pictures of these tigers by using the ivory needle. She's tired of doing the household work after she got married. She cannot get herself involved in her artistic work. She has to do it in her leisure time. Even then, she has to be sure whether her husband is watching her or not, so her hands are terrified. Just thinking about the idea of a husband, her hands are trembling. She will not be free from fear until she dies. So what we are told that it was very difficult for her to find even the ivory needle from that woolen cloth. कि woolen cloth से उस needle को निकालना भी उसके लिए मुश्किल हो रहा था. She was so physically weak. And the massive weight of uncle's wedding band, because she was burdened by the weight of the marriage wedding band, the marriage band with the uncle. And she was so afraid that her hands were fluttering. Fingers were fluttering when she was pulling the needle out of that cloth. When Aunt Jennifer is dead, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. The tigers in the panel that she made will go on prancing, proud and unafraid. Then, in the next stanza, we are told about the Aunt Jennifer's behavior after her death. The poet says, कि when she will die, she will not be free from that terror, from that feeling of fear that she had for her husband. Though she had given expression to her art will express her desire to move proudly and fearlessly like the tigers she has made. But she would not be free from the terror or the fear of her husband. Aunt Jennifer's hands are terrified because of the massive weight of household duties. They are heavily pressed. They have undergone severe trials. She is dominated by her husband continuously. Fingers fluttering, ordeals mastered, hard to pull indicate her fear. All these phrases by mentioning that it is uncle's wedding band. The poet suggests that uncle owns Jennifer too, and that as a female, she is the property of her husband. The word massive and heavily suggests Aunt Jennifer's is ringed, trapped in her marriage, and controlled like an animal. Her husband is her master. Her wish to be like the tiger, proud and unafraid, also shows her fear in real life. The tigers are fierce, courageous, and independent animals. They had the life the way they want to. They lead the life whatever they want to. But Aunt Jennifer is just opposite to the tigers. She is quite coward and totally dependent on her husband. She leads her life the way her husband likes her to. So the tigers are an appropriate contrast to her. So in the last lines, what we see that even after her death, she is not free from that terror. Her hands, terrified hands, will lie still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. Now here we are given this word in the form of images, the word ringed that gives the triple meaning to us. It gives a vicious grip of unhappy married life. First is ringed means encircled. Then the conventional use of the word that is a symbol of sacred married life. Ring as a convention or as a symbol of sacred marriage life. Then figurative use is used that she is encircled by the difficulties and the problems of life. So in this way, the poet has used this word rigged with the ordeals, with the difficulties. She was encircled and she was surrounded by all these problems because she was mastered by her husband. Whereas the tigers that are shown on the panel, they are still jumping, they are proud, they are unafraid, and full of confidence. That means even after her death, there is no difference in the behavior of the tigers. Whereas Aunt Jennifer will not be free from the terrified hands. She is still encircled by those difficulties and the problems and the fear she had in her mind. Yes, according to this, she has given full expression to her desires by embroidering these tigers on the panel.